Oh, goodness. Let's see. I'm trying to get my my chat up. Let's see. Hello, Ricky. I'm trying to pull up the chat real quick on my computer so that I can read it while we're doing it. But we'll see how that goes. There we go. No, that's not what I want. Let's try this. Sorry for the delay. Hey, Karen. Hey, Carla. Oh, my goodness. Whew. That's not what I want. It's not doing it tonight. Whew. I might have to try something different. Hey, Brian. How are you, sir? I'm not popping up on my own stuff. So let's do this. If you'll give me just a second. I'm going to switch over to my other account and then log into my own stream so I can see the chat. There we go. Pop out chat. Make that go away. There we are. There's always the restart. We're not restarting. We don't have to restart. We are set. I am using my wife's phone this evening because I ran out of data. Can you see the fire behind me okay? Oh, no. There we go. There's a move something. That's better. If I sit back a little bit, you can see it. I made a fire for us this evening. How's that? Hey, thanks. It's my my fire department hat. So hopefully the sound is okay, the fire's okay. Maybe we'll move the fire. Let's move the fire a little bit. This is probably a terrible idea, but let's give it a shot. And then we'll discuss our tea this evening. We got a lot to talk about. There we go. All right. It's always nice to have something else to look at besides me. Oh, that's better. Yeah. All right. Set up a little. We're outside again, but this time I actually moved down to the ground floor, if you will. So we have to make some studio adjustments. I really enjoyed being outside last week, and it's a little chilly. So in order to accommodate our live chat this evening, I made a fire behind us so you can enjoy a nice fire. I am sitting next to... Nope, that's not it. There we go. The wood-burning stove, which that's the top of it right there. Woo! So, hey, Leah. So I have my wood-burning stove next to me for warmth. We have the fire behind me, so y'all have some ambiance while we're chatting. I've got my tea. We've got to have tea. This evening we are having Celestial Seasons. Sorry, I got my face too close to you. Celestial Seasons tea, which has stuff in it. I don't know, peppermint, licorice root, eucalyptus. It's delicious. So, what a week we have had. Got my gloves too. What a week we have had this week. I ended up working Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then Thursday, I had plans for that nipple watering system, and I was going to film it all for you. And we had some friends over. Hey, Rip. We had some friends come over, which was lovely. I tell you what, guys, since we moved out here, I think we have had more visitors to the farm than we had when we lived in the city. I think maybe our friends are. I don't know. There's something special about this place. Um, so we had a family of 6 come over on Thursday. They're also homeschoolers, and they were here for a long time. In the morning, of course, it takes me forever to get home from work, so I don't get home till typically 9:30. But I had to stop by the grocery store on the way home, and as those of you that live in rural areas know, if you can stop at the grocery store on the way home and save yourself an hour round trip, you do it. So I stopped at the grocery store, didn't get home till almost 11. Friends showed up at 12. They were here until about 2:30 or 3. So by the time I actually grabbed the camera and went out to film and to start working on the nipple water, it was already 3:30. And here in Virginia, at least, it's dark, like dark by 5:30. So we ran into the issue of trying to get it. The plumbing didn't work with that paddle bit. I probably should have bought a regular drill bit for it. I plan on tapping the barrel with a hose clamp or a hose fitting. And I bought 2 rubber disc washers that I'm going to put on either side so I can sandwich that around it, which should prevent leaks. So yeah, Thursday night didn't go quite the way I wanted to. And then Thursday, my farmer buddy called me and said, hey, we were going to do the pig's castration, which we're not going to talk about in too much detail or depth. We've already, I've already lost a couple subscribers over the last video, and we didn't even show anything. We just talked about it. But this is a homesteading channel, so that's part of homesteading. Karen says, I thought those nipple waterers were for pigs, not for chickens. They are, Karen, and actually it says you can't use them for chickens, but I don't believe them. I don't believe anything anymore, hardly, that experts tell me. So I wasn't actually sure, Karen, if it was going to work with the chicken. So it was kind of an experiment because I still have the other waterers. So I wanted to see if it would work because those plastic ones were leaking. Not all of them, but some of them were leaking. So I wanted to give it a shot and see why. Why isn't it for chickens? Why wouldn't the stainless steel ones work? And it doesn't take much downforce for that thing to release water. The way it's set up, I mean, you guys have seen the pictures, but it's got that little stud on it, right? And if you push that stud down just a little bit, water comes shooting out. You don't have to depress it in or whatever. It doesn't take a lot of pressure. So I thought it would probably work. And I have at least one chicken that has figured out that if she grabs that thing and shakes it, Leah says, I'm so sorry someone left over that. You can't run the rest of us off that easy. Well, thank you so much. We do have some things to talk about with running people off too, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have put castration in the title. That might have been my fault. I'm not savvy with all the YouTube stuff to make the channel grow and those kind of things. I am in warning to you loyal cohorts of the Flannel Fam. We I'm doing some research into how to grow the channel. In many ways, you know, this is a business of sorts, and I do want to grow it. We do have some financial things to talk about. So let me remind you, let me ask you to ask me to remind me if I don't talk about the finances here before we sign off to talk about the finances, because we've had some changes. But all that to say, I forgot some stuff, so I had to go get it. So Friday, I tried to bang that thing out, and I'd actually planned on making 2 videos, one with the nipple waterers and then one about the pigs and moving them, because it was a really big deal to move those pigs out of their training pen and over into the wooded area. I mean, as you guys know, we've never had pigs before, and then all we've had is, you know, what we've read about, and I've seen a guy do pig wires in person, but I wasn't. They seem to get out a lot. So yeah. So it was really exciting to have something be successful. Although I'm not kidding, I think I mentioned it in the video. As soon as I let those two in, the first two that we castrated, we set them down, and they walked right out the backside. Just, but all I had to do, the wire was pretty far apart, so I just narrowed it down a little bit, and they haven't even tried it since. So, it was a very quick process for the pigs. We did have so actually that whole part I realized after that I did not record audio on was me explaining that we were about to have this big castration thing, and then I realized I just kind of threw it out there. We did have pain meds on hand. We had sharp implements and all those kind of things, and the pigs seemed more upset that we were picking them up and handling them than the actual procedure itself. And again, I'm not going to go into details, but I tell you what, I picked up those things and they went bonkers. But when we held them in position to do what we did, they hardly moved at all. So it was interesting. And the chickens ate the leftovers. We threw the bits to the chickens and they had a lovely time. So yeah, Carla says we're refining our viewer audience. Brian says, just curious, do you plan on doing grocery row gardening like your bro, or will you primarily focus on single row gardening? How do you feel about permaculture philosophy? Okay, so there's a whole lot of questions there. Yes, we plan on doing grocery row gardening. So we're kind of working backwards, right? If you've heard this spiel before, forgive me. I'll tell you when to skip ahead, I guess. But we want to do things as almost primitively. We want to be able to do things as primitively as possible. No, you're not getting us off topic. This is good. This is why we do the live streams, so we can have these conversations. And actually, while I talk about it, in some ways, it helps me refine what we're planning on doing. But we want to establish permaculture, and we've been focusing on it primarily with the animals for now. So we are trying to get them the pasture and stuff. We're reading a good pasture book so that we can rotate the animals in the poly. For those of you that know about Polyface, everybody knows about Polyface and Joe Sallet, and we've been to his farm, seen his stuff, rotating the pigs and the chickens and the cows through the fields. So right now we're trying to establish that with planting the cover crops that we've planted with the winter peas and the spring oats. We're hoping to get cows by the end of this month if I'm quick enough. There will be some Holsteins that are ready. We've done a lot of research, and it turns out that dairy cows are perfectly fine for eating. The reason people don't is because you get something like 20 to 30% less yield out of a Holstein, for example, over a Black Angus, and it takes them a little longer and all those kind of things. So, but if you're on a homestead and you're not feeding them hay because you have created enough pasture for them to eat, I don't care if my cow only gives me 1,500 pounds of beef as opposed to 1,900 pounds of beef. I'm only making beef for my family, so I don't have those margins and kind of things that matter. So I like my tractor. I like agricultural things like that. I like my plow. I think it's fun. But I do want to have synergistic plants and do it where I don't have to irrigate. I don't have to water them all the time. I don't have to worry about feeding the plants all the time and rotating crops. So, hey, don't eat the foxglove. Such greeting from Oregon. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. Welcome. So if you plant the right plants, right? I mean, I'm sure most of you are probably even more familiar with permaculture than I am, because I'm just now starting to get into where I can actually implement it. You can refeed the ground by crop rotation and things like that. So I'm not trying to get the maximum yield out of the smallest space in that sense. So I do want to do the grocery row gardening type thing. The chop and drop and all that is great. Wide spacing. We are focused on, at least in my head, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm thinking also of food storage, right? Long-term food storage. So I want to have the most primitive ways I can do things that don't require electricity available to me. I want like a root cellar for cold storage. I want a smokehouse for long term. I want to salt my meat, but I also want like squash. Squash keep for a very long time. Hey, Joe, how are you, sir? Welcome. Um, so you can buy like a butternut squash in the store and throw it on your shelf, and that thing is good for months, right? Spaghetti squash is the same way. So I want to focus on those type of things. Potatoes, right? Thin skinned potatoes are delicious, but they don't keep as long. I can grow a lot of potatoes here. From what we've been talking to the lady that lived here before, the potatoes did well, squash did well, roots did well. Our turnips did amazing. So I want to have like peas or beans, potatoes, and um, squashes as my primary staple foods, in large part because I like them. They're delicious and they keep really well, right? If you dry out beans, they're good for a very long time. And if you have potatoes or starch, right? Your squashes give you carbs and your beans give you protein. So that's what I need to survive. Anything after that is for variety and flavor and fun. So I do want to grow large sections of those single crops, but I also want to rotate them around. I want to have places that lie fallow and that I, move the chickens on after we've done a harvest. We're doing a lot of research into crop rotations. So, and I want areas that are food forest like or the grocery row garden like. So we have planted trees and oh, Ricky, we do have he said it would be cool to have a mailing address for Flannel Farms. We do actually. If you look at the channel, I think it's about or community or some such place. There is a PO box that we have here. So, but I believe it is PO Box 1057, Urbana, Virginia 23175. So, if that helps, I could probably put it in the chat, but I'm not going to. My gloves make typing hard, so you'll forgive me. So yes, I guess yes to both. I want both. I'm going to have single grocery or single food areas, but I'm going to rotate the crops. We're going to move the animals through. I'm trying to increase the amount of pasture and plantable land that I have from some of the woods so that I have the space to rotate. Hey, thanks, Karen. Aren't you sweet? You guys are so nice. So, Brian says, cool. Thank you for answering the question. Don't forget about pickling and fermenting. Yes, also very good things. Hey, Steele says howdy from South Central Texas. Well, howdy back. Appreciate y'all being here. I like doing them on Sunday evenings. We go to church Sunday morning. We had our fellowship dinner at church, and then it's a long drive home. But I took my power nap from about 3 to 4 this afternoon, and I like doing them a little earlier in the evening too, because well, I get to go to bed. I have work tomorrow, so I got to get up very early and drive into town. That's always it's always painful to leave the homestead. But before I forget, unless I miss some questions here, oh yeah, Ricky. Ricky says, Brian, I'm curious too if he and his bro want to grow ginkgo biloba trees from seeds in Portland, Oregon. Yeah, send us some. I'll do it. Yes, Karen. Karen says the piglets are growing so fast. They really are. Ricky says, my grandfather made me participate in the crashing of a dog without anesthesia. No BS. It was on Cypress Acres Plantation, Greenville, Mississippi. Yeah, it is, it was, man, I tell you, like, and that was something I said in the chat that got lost because I forgot to turn the microphone on because I'm still very new at fancy technology. Before I forget, if you haven't thumbs up the video, please do so. It helps us, I guess, in the great scheme of whatever it is that YouTube looks at to promote the channel. It's one thing to have pets. It's another thing to throw, some chickens out in your yard. And thanks, guys. I see the thumbs up going up. That's awesome. You guys are the best. I really appreciate it. It's a whole nother thing to have to basically perform surgery on your animals, right? Don't eat the Foxglove says Christmas pigs. Not yet. But you can do suckling pigs. Apparently, is a thing. Harvesting smaller pigs is a thing. I don't really want to do that. I want them to grow up and get nice and big and fat, so I get plenty of bacon. But when you're responsible for the animals and it's that we are raising them for food. We're not raising pets. We're not raising, it's not the Price is Right. Don't forget to spay and neuter your pets. It's That's their whole purpose here. Besides tearing up the woods for me so I can make clearing it easier, is to provide us with food. And I was watching my buddy Sean the Modern Yeoman. He's got a great channel, but he was over with Billy from Perma Pastures. And one of the sayings that I've learned, right, is the animals have one bad day. So animals that you raise on your homestead, that you raise humanely, that you give plenty of space, you give sunshine, you give the food they're supposed to eat, not the food that gets them the fattest, the quickest. They have, and I mean, they're not, there's not even predator pressure here, right? So they're not even like running around in the wild trying not to get eaten on a daily basis. Like, you literally care for all of their needs and give them freedom. They have one bad day, and that's the day that you harvest the animal. And so, I mean, that's a pretty good trade to have all of that. I mean, uh, we as humans have a lot more than one bad day. Not that anybody's necessarily trying to eat us, but you know what I'm saying. So it was encouraging to have that type of perspective on it. So speaking of perspectives, let's get into some financial discussion, shall we? You guys know that I did a video, I don't know how long ago, about how to, homestead and have somebody else pay for it. And essentially it was our rental property, right? We bought this very cheap house. If you haven't seen the video or haven't heard me talk about it, 8 years ago or so, we bought a very cheap house down in the socioeconomically depressed part of the city that we lived in at the time. The front door was hanging off. It had no water pressure because they'd stolen the copper out from underneath it. It had no heat. It had no AC. Literally, the plasters in the ceiling was falling down. The floors hadn't been refinished in so long. They were old, original wood floors that you would get splinters upstairs just walking. So it needed a lot of work. And I moved my wife and 3 small children there, and we made it work for over 5 years. Now, obviously, it was very cheap. It was a foreclosure. But we bought it, and I worked on it as we had money. We just fixed it. A little over 2 years ago, we moved out of that house into a nicer neighborhood, a little more expensive, not a through street, those kind of things. And we worked really hard, and we actually paid off that place, and we rented it out. So it's been rented out for us for a couple of years. We just paid it off in this current fiscal year. And my wife, who homeschools our kids and had been working part-time, I guess this is her 4th year, went from working like 5 hours a week to 29 hours a week, and still homeschooling, right? Still doing all the stuff she was doing, still managing the books. She's our CFO for everything. When we started the Flannel Guys stump grinding business, she's the one that did all the LLC stuff. She does all the taxes. She's an amazing woman. I wish she wasn't so camera shy. You guys would love her. I might talk her out into this chat one day. So she was like burning the candle at like 9 ends, and we took literally all the money she made, and we moved out of that lousy neighborhood. And then we took all the money she made, and we paid off the rental. And then we took all the money she made, and we made it out to the homestead. And then we decided that with the rental property being paid for and the income coming in, I got promoted over that time period, so I got a raise doing that we would work at getting her back out of working, because the kids are getting older, and you only have one chance with your kids, and it's their education is getting more involved. So we decided last month that she should just go ahead and quit. And she hasn't quit altogether. I think they talked her into staying for like, I think she's working 8 hours a month or something. It's almost nothing, right? It's a few $100 a month compared to what she was making, which was a few $1,000s a month. But we decided that it was best for the family. We're on the property, right? We have animals now. We're going to have food that needs to be prepared. We have plants that need to be put in the ground. We're going to have greenhouses that need to be tended, and the kids' education. Like, there's so much more now that we have to do just making our own food, as opposed to going to the store and buying what we like to call ding chicken. And that's the sound the microwave makes when the chicken's done. So we have to produce it, we have to store it, we have to cook it, we have to all these things. And it didn't make sense for her to keep working when we have made it here. And this was our life goal, monetarily, if you will. Um, Obviously, our life goal is to raise our kids in the fear and admonition of the Lord. But the reason we were trying to make money was to get out here, and we made it out here. So we decided that it was time for her to go ahead and step back, which she's done. And then we found out a few days ago that our tenant has lost his job due to, um, shall we say, them. How do I phrase this without getting kicked off of YouTube? Asserting their personal freedom when it comes to mandates. Let me put it that way. They have decided to um, defy mandates. We'll go with that. So they have no job, which means we get no rent. And our rent was paying for our mortgage. Now, our rent our rent was not the only way we could pay for this place. That is ridiculous. That is a terrible financial decision. So we still will be able to pay for our farm. It's not the end of the world. But we had like from last month to this month, with her quitting her job and us losing the tenant's income, we've had like a 45% swing in our monthly income, which again, it's not the end of the world. We're not poor. The lights aren't going out. None of those things are happening. But it's a pretty big shift. Per my property manager, the guy should be reemployed sometime in January. So in theory, this is only going to be for a few months that we're going to be without that um, rent income. But we still have food. We still have lights. We still have all that stuff. So if you guys are praying folk, it would be nice more for that guy, our tenants, to be able to be reemployed, because they do have a family and kids and stuff like that. And so I'm more concerned, honestly, about them being able to eat and feed their kids than I am about the rent. Um, I'm very thankful we paid the property off before we did anything else, because it's not I don't have two mortgages now, so we're okay. But as you guys know, who have gone through income shifts, it's just something to adjust to. So that's what has happened recently. We are working on merchandise, not just because we had a shift in income, but we do want to have some available T-shirts and mugs and hoodies and things like that. So they will have flannel in them somehow. I don't think they're going to be pure flannel. I haven't found people that make a flannel T-shirt yet. I'm still working on that. And actual flannel is very expensive. So for me to purchase flannel, put my logo on it, and then resell it for any reasonable cost is very, very expensive. And I just don't see the value in that. But we're working on it. So the other thing I was going to talk to you about, if I haven't missed any questions, let's see. Aaliyah says, Permapasture's Farm had excellent videos on butchering. You're close enough to them that I bet you could even attend or host one of their butchering workshops. Yeah, Leah, actually, I've watched several of Billy's episodes on butchering. And for those of you that watch the Modern Yeoman or whatever you've seen, he's gone over there too. Sean, actually, I'm hoping, I've talked to him a bit, he might come up when we do one of the pigs and kind of give us a crash course too, because he's done sheep now, he's done chickens, he's done a few things. So I actually have looked up how far Billy from Permapastures is from us, and he's about 7 hours. He's over there in the beautiful Blue Ridge Parkway area, or the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. I'm not sure how close he is to the actual parkway, which is interesting because I used to grow up and vacation, still do occasionally, over in Spruce Pine, North Carolina, which is about 45 minutes from his farm. So it's a small world, guys. I did want to talk a little bit too about so the picture I put, there's always one, and there's that chicken on the outside of the wire. I have friends that would really like to do what we're doing with the property and things, but financially there's reasons they can't. And if everything goes to heck in a handbasket, you don't necessarily have to own the property to be useful. So I have friends who are good, actually I have family members who are good tactically, right? So they even if I had everything here that I could possibly need to feed my family, there's nothing that can prevent me or help. There's no way I can prevent someone from taking my stuff, right? I mean, I have firearms, I can do patrol, but I can't guard like my animals in the front field 24/7, and I could have everything taken. And so even though I have the ability to create all my food, I could lose it all. So I have family who are very tactical. I have another friend up here who has learned a lot about canning and preserving. And so if everything goes really bad, an extra set of hands on the property that knows those things, that knows preservation, people that know how to ferment and things like that, people that know how to brew things, to ferment things. There are all kinds of skills that we have lost over the years. And while I'm trying to learn or relearn as many of them as we possibly can, if you're one of those people, and it doesn't even have to be that you don't have the land, maybe you're older and you don't have the ability to go out and do work and to create the food and things like that, your knowledge is invaluable in so many ways. So we can develop community, right? We should be developing community around each other and have these skills in the community. And if you're not the one that owns the property, maybe make friends with the one that owns the property and have something useful to bring to the table. Propagating seeds. Bill isn't here, but Bill Elrod is he is like a master propagator, man. This guy is amazing. And so there are all kinds of things that you can learn and bring. So if it really does get to like the Great Depression, the dollar goes crazy and hyperinflation happens and all these things, if you have been learning these skills and you have found the community and you can do these things together, right? I mean, even back in the old days, they would do like, there would be harvest. Everybody would go to some guy's field and harvest. Even just the labor, right? You couldn't do it without help. So I know that we can't do this without help. Even if, man, my hat's all saggy down. I felt like I should come out with a knife and be like, "Hey, I say, I cut you, man." Um, and for those of you that don't know, we're not appropriating any culture. We just have fun with accents. You used to be able to make a living as an impressionist. I don't think you can do that anymore because somebody get mad about it. But I like doing voices, so please don't be offended. It's not meant to be belittle or anyone else. It's just meant to get a laugh. Yes, eh. If you don't laugh, I cut you, man. Um, I come by it honestly. I'm from South Florida, so uh, some of my best friends are Spanish. You're not allowed to say that either. You can't say anything anymore. Anyways, so um, there are so many things we can do to be useful, and growing a community and finding like-minded people is very important. There's a whole bunch of people in our church. Our church has like a 3-hour range that people drive to go to because it's so hard to find good community. So we have some friends that live, like if church was in the middle, they are like an hour and something to the west, and we're an hour and 20 minutes to the east. So between the two of us, we're like 3 hours apart. But they're looking at buying something like 40 something acres. They've been on an acre and a half for, I don't know, probably 15, 20 years. They've been doing goats and chickens and things like that. Actually, um, the part one from way back, I think it was in June. We never got to the part two. That's them and their farm. They're looking at buying 43 acres, and several other of the families in the church are looking at moving onto the property with them. And most of them are retirement age, so they are going to have sources of income and they can develop the structure. But if I was in my early 20s or something, or wasn't on the place I was at, I would be over there, trying to help and build and do things so that if it all came down to it, I had a place to flee to. So I'm still going to go over there and help them do things, but it's with a different mindset now. I'm trying to help them establish their homestead, and there'll probably be some videos about it. They made an offer today, so if you would pray that the offer gets accepted, that would be really cool. But we want to have the property and figure out how to make food, not just for ourselves. We don't do this alone. And Joe says, "Hey, I say, loan me $1 for some pot." No way, man. You gotta buy it first, dude. Um, it we want to do it in community. We want to do it. The Bible says, "He that used to steal, let him steal no more, but instead let him work with his hands so he has something to share." And so right now I'm learning how to do it for my family, but if things get bad and we can upscale things and people have to come here for a refuge, it can be done. So we should do these things without fear, right? We should not fear. We shouldn't look to the future with trepidation, but we should look toward the future with ways to conquer. So even we were talking, my wife and I were talking this evening about this 45% shift in our income, and what a privilege it is to be in a place that you can willingly give up a huge portion of your income so that your wife can stay home with the kids and do what she wants. This is what she wants. And I do give her shoes and the keys to the car once a week to go to the grocery store. So I'm not a total tyrant. That's a joke. She gets them twice a week because sometimes I'm not around for church. Oh my goodness. Also a joke. But that's a huge place to be because money isn't everything. It's not. It's very hard to live without it, right? But what a privilege to be able to focus on raising the family and their education and stuff like that. So y'all are having fun in the chat. Let me see what I'm missing. Oh, that's a good idea. First of all, Carlos is praying for your tenant and also your family. Things are getting pretty rough here in Australia. Currently making contingency plans for if when hubby's job falls under the mandates. So Carla, let me address that real quick if you don't mind. Not your situation specifically, but we have a young lady in our church who has met a young gentleman over there, and we're getting secondhand reports through her about how rough things are getting in Australia, and how a lot of you are, not bowing to tyranny. So God bless you. Keep up the fight. But he is trying to get out, and there's like no way to get him here, because the flights are all squirrely, and they're banning immigration and even fleeing. So there's talk that if we can get him here, with all the applications for green cards and visas and things, that he might end up working for several of the families, like a almost like a day laborer or a whatever. He is a farmer by trade in Australia. So there are several of us in the area that have farms or are attempting to homestead or whatever, that he might be able to like do room and board for whatever. But that's like, as crazy as it sounds while I'm saying it, like these are the times that we live in. And that's how we band together, and that's how we come together, and it's one of the ways that we take care of each other. So, Carla, we will be praying for your husband's job as well. Leah says maybe you could sell patches we could put on our own flannels. Ooh, aren't you clever? I'm gonna have to write that down somewhere because I'll forget. Patches. I must remember patches. That is very cool. Joe says, yes, knowing how to ferment fruits and tree shrubs is priceless. Isn't that the truth? Ricky says, my best friend has a new brewing channel. Cool. Brewing is awesome. I don't do it, but I would like to know how to make alcohol for medical purposes, so that you can have sterile water to drink, or surgery, or if you're sad. I actually don't. Well, the only alcohol that I have anymore is the communion cup. That's it. But that's me. Don't worry about me. Ricky says, I've done medical marijuana grow, all nice and legal. Auto flowering. Yep. That's actually, we've talked about that for the property. I don't think we're going to pursue it, but we talk about everything, so don't take it as any kind of thing. But they have like decriminalized marijuana in Virginia, and so there's going to be a mad dash of people growing it, and there could be a lot of money to be made very early. And if it's legal, I'm not sure why it would be a moral thing to not grow it. Does that make sense? Um, because once it's not illegal, then where's the stigma? I mean, if I could grow an aspirin tree, I would. I mean, I plan on growing all kinds of teas and things that are anti-inflammatory and that have medicinal purposes, right? So, marijuana does have medicinal purposes, but I don't think that's the route we're going to go with this property, even if money could be made. I don't know if it's because I'm just old fuddy-duddy, or I also feel sometimes if you have to explain something, you've kind of already lost. So I don't need to grow it, but we've talked about all kinds of stuff. I don't know. So Joe says, my gramps worked very hard. He was a farmer, but his problem, he didn't work intelligently. Yeah, hard work isn't just the end all be all. So, cannabis indica, Joe says, that is good stuff. Helped a friend here recuperate her hearing to 70% normal before we had to shout. Now we speak loud. Cool. Brian says, I agree. My uncle farmed himself into the dirt. It's just the way he was taught, and he's too stubborn to learn new methods. Yeah. Well, and here's the problem with commercial farming, and I'm sure you all know this, but the margins have gotten so crazy small that you have to have massive land, massive equipment, all this massive stuff. And, when I was younger in the 90s and early 2000s, like the thought of buying something organic was mind blowing. But we also, I think, were blissfully ignorant of the way big food is created, right? So this was like before the days. I mean, there were still documentaries, but there was no Netflix, no streaming services, no people looking for content. And there might have been people that were putting out those kind of documentaries. And I have seen some older videos from the 80s and that had some stuff about food. But I'll tell you, I didn't know that they, raised chickens 6 to a little tiny squared what they couldn't, spread their wings, and that's where your eggs came from, or the way that, your chickens are washed in ammonia before you eat them so that they're not filthy. Like, I didn't know any of that stuff. And so the more you know, like, the more you're like, oh my gosh, like, what in the world? So now, and what that has to do with money is there's no way I would have gone to the store and spent, $6 a pound on organic chicken when you can buy it for 99 cents. Like, the math didn't add up. And when I was impoverished, you can't afford to do that. So, but as a business model, you have to be competitive. And the only way to be competitive with Purdue and Tyson and all those things is to have those big long chicken tunnels, right? Slam as many birds as you can into it, feed them garbage, harvest them quickly, like whatever. So, uh, but now people are going to local farmers markets more. There is a market for pasture raised pig. There is a market for free range chickens. People are spending $3 to $4 a dozen on, eggs from happy chickens. So there is a chance for someone like me to make. Oh, I'm covering the fire. Don't cover the fire. We'll lose. Woo! I almost fell and wiped out. I'm on a hill and I propped my chair up, and the bricks just shifted. Oh goodness! I legit almost died. Oh my goodness! It's always something. There. There. Now you can see the fire better. I can't believe it. That's better. Now it looks like I'm chatting with a friend at the fire. Wow. Whew. Can adjust my old man blanket here so that my legs don't get cold, because I'm a little farther from the fire now that I almost wiped out. But I have the opportunity to yeah, right. This is some strong tea. I have the opportunity to potentially go to like farmers markets and stuff and sell my produce, sell my wares. But of course, I would still have to sell so much of it. And the reason a lot of people get out of farming is because I can go work, one day of overtime at my job and make as much as I would make off of, potentially raising a pig for 10 months. So how how does that make any sense to do for a business model? It really doesn't. But in terms of food security, it makes a huge deal. Anyways, I've seen the chat going crazy, so let's read a few things here. Um, Third species. Good point, Joe says. During the Mex Revolution, he came over to Texas. He went back. His mom was ailing. She left property to her sons. My gramps got the worst. That's tough. Don't Eat the Foxglove says, so many choices for medicinal roe. Turmeric, ginger, garlic, horseradish even. Comfrey grows like crazy everywhere except Alabama. So, Steel Raw says, old fuddy duddy, just wait till you hit 61. I'm about 8 months away from 40. And I tell you what, one of the guys at work was like, man, if I could go back to my 20s, if I could go back there. I said, not a chance, man. I am having such a good time. It's such a wonderful stage I'm in. My strength hasn't left me yet. And I can do the things I want to do. I have some resources to be able to do it. I have some knowledge that I've acquired over the past 20 years. My kids are at a cool stage. It's just fun. I was holding an infant in church today, and one of my eldest daughter came up and she's like, you look like you want babies again. I said, well, I do. I absolutely do. I miss that stage, but I don't want to go back to that stage. Like I don't want another infant, but I look back at that stage fondly. I enjoy holding babies, but I'm loving the stage my kids are in. And I'm looking forward to being a grandparent in the next, hopefully 10 years or so. And holding grandkids. There are things to look forward to with each stage. So yeah, look back fondly, but I'm not going back. Carolyn says, can the guy in Australia get a tourist visa, then change it once he gets into the United States? So Carolyn, part of the problem is getting him here. It's going to be very hard to get him here. With all the travel restrictions and all those kind of things. Mio says, I love babies, but I ain't having any more. Yep, that's it. Yeah, babies are awesome. But so yeah, getting them here is going to be the trick with all the restrictions. I'm not sure what they are. I haven't. Hey, Mia says, oh, and hi everyone. Hello, welcome. Thank you for chatting. I just don't know how we get him here, and I will admit I have not done a whole lot of research in trying to figure out how to get him here. This was just a brief, 20-minute conversation we had at church. So if we can get him here, our community has decided we're going to take care of him. And her. I mean, she's been in the church for years. We know her. She's a lovely young lady. And so, whatever it takes, that's what you do to brotherhood and unity and rah stuff like that. So Simmons says, yeah, hobby farm here. We raise to feed our family of 6. Some people at work sell eggs. I just don't see how it's worth the hassle for the minimal return unless you charge a ridiculous amount. Correct. Yeah, that's it. Anita says, I'm almost 60. Age is a number. It is a number. But it also comes with its, like, for example, I had to pull the rebar out of the ground that I put in for the pigs, and then I drug that pig pen that I built, their little house. I drug it over into the woods. I was really sore for like 3 days. And when I was in my 20s, I would have been sore for like 5 minutes. So the recovery time is a little longer as we get older. But like I said, I can still do everything I could do before. I just feel it a little longer than I used to. So that's where the whole work smarter, not harder thing comes in, I think. So you feel better than you did in your 40s. Great, Anita. And a lot of it is, I'm looking forward to seeing how I feel after we've been eating our own food, and food that has the mineral content that it's supposed to have, and the nutrition that it's supposed to have, and not pumped full of stuff. I'm very curious to see if there's a noticeable difference. I don't know how there couldn't be a noticeable difference. You know what I'm saying? You feel me, man? Because you eat the good food, and it's good for you. So, like, you're all better and stuff, is it? Then you can be, like, in your camino, and stabbing people that don't pay for the family. Sorry. Uh, let's see. I want to make sure I get on the. Oh yeah, Leah says that Brian, who said he's trying to get his family to switch over to eat organic and stuff. Have you tried not telling them anything different than they are used to? My mom got us to eat stuff just by setting the plate on the table and acting like it's nothing new, right? Act like you've been there before. What is this, a vegetable? Don't worry about it, just eat it. It's true, right? I mean, how many times have you had something? I don't know if it's happened to you. You always see it in the TV shows, right? Where they're like, "Oh, this is delicious. What is it?" They're like, "It's llama brain," and they're like, "Bleh." Like then you thought it was delicious till you knew what it was. There was a guy at work one day that brought in cow tongue, and tongue is just a muscle. We eat lots of parts of cows, but I walked in there and there was this massive tongue just laying on the butcher block in the station with like the taste buds all over it, and it looked like a tongue. I mean, it looked like a tongue. So, and he's like, "Brian, don't worry about it, Brian. It'll be delicious. We're gonna put it in we're gonna put it in the crock pot and you'll never even notice." So we cut all the weird looking stuff off of it, and once it was peeled, it looked like beef because it was beef. It's cow tongue. And so he chopped it up, threw it in the crock pot, and we had beef tongue tacos. And my kids still, because I told them that story, and they're like, "Oh, Dad, you ate beef tongue? That's so gross." And it was delicious. It was delicious. It was one of the best beef tacos I ever had. But in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking, I'm eating that thing's tongue. Blah. Like, it takes some getting used to. Because if you've ever, yeah, William says tongue, the food that tastes you. It should be said like this, comrade. Tongue is food that tastes you. When you come from Russia, food eat you. When you look at a cow's mouth, it's disgusting, right? It's all slimy, and they're like, well, and just drool, and like there's no appetizing part looking at it, but it was very, very good. So, and if you watch some of those like discovery shows and things like that, where the people in Alaska and the native people, like the tongue is like the choice piece of meat, or the heart, or it's sought after, right? And us here in our super Caucasianness and our very whiteness, and we're used to our food coming in a package, and maybe it's already cooked, and all I have to do is put in a microwave. And oh, no microwave, because that will give little Jimmy cancer. So, but like we're so used to the things being prepared, and we're so far removed from what it really is, right? That it was strange to eat cow tongue. Why is that strange? It shouldn't have been strange. It should have been perfectly normal. And it was delicious. But all that to say, the mental game is part of it. We were talking to the lady that used to live here. She came by when she saw the pigs on the property, and she was all thrilled. She's in her mid 80s now, so she was so happy that we're here doing what we're doing. And she said pig jowl is yeah. ZMB says, "Well, little Jimmy can go hungry." That's right. Kids will eat something if they're hungry. Sooner or later, they will eat it. And it's not torture, it's good parenting. Um, but she said pig jowl was one of the tastiest pieces of a pig that she's ever had. And just like saying the word jowl, you're going to eat the pig cheek. Again, doesn't seem like an appetizing thing. But who knows till you try it? So, Brian said, "It's the heart I can't do. I've tried several different ways. I can't get the heart to taste good." I've honestly never tried heart, but there's going to be things I try. So, I don't want to waste anything we've made. And even if you turn it into like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Y'all will be here. We'll do it together. I'll be open for recipes. But we had our nephew here, and like he eats like 3 things, And we said, no. He'll eat more than 3 things. And his parents were like, no, he doesn't. Um, Leah says, if your kids eat hot dogs, they've eaten all sorts of parts. That's right. Um, they're like, he won't eat it. He just won't. And I said, well, we make what we make for dinner, and that's what we have. So that's what we're gonna do, and that's what we did. And he was he was less than pleased about it. He had a few tears. He was not. He didn't pitch a fit about it at all. So I don't want you to think of like a spoiled child. He just explained to us, because he is an only child, that he doesn't eat this. And we said, well, this is dinner. He's like, well, I'll just have, whatever he said. I don't even remember now. Peanut butter and jelly. And I said, no, this is what we have. Well, then I'll just eat a nugget. No, bud, this is what we have. Well, can I just have bread? No, this is what we have. And if you don't eat this, then this is what you'll have for your next meal. And he had some big tears well up, and they rolled down his face, and he went, okay. And he took a bite, and he goes, it's not bad. But he practically gagged on it, the poor kid. But he ate it. Everything we made, he ate. And I'm sure there were parts of it he didn't like. I don't always like everything we make, but sometimes that's what's in the house. And when the chef sets it down in front of you, you say, thanks, Mom, and you eat your dinner. That's just what you do. We do, though, normally allow the bread option for people. But yeah, we don't make multiple meals here for multiple people. Yes, Anita says, a good sport he was. He was a good sport. And he did. He ate it. He gagged every time he took a bite, and then he took a big swig of his water. Oh, I love that kid. His emotions are right here, like all the time. So, but oh, what is it? My cats are fussing at me because they want to go inside. Let's see if you can. What are you doing? So, I think I've told you about the 2 cats. Caramel is very brave, does whatever he wants, runs all over the place. Skittles, we named Skittles because he's skittish, and he will only come out if Caramel's around. But he's the one that meows. He was the one in that video, if you saw it, that he kept running down the road meowing. But if Caramel's out, Skittles will come over, and you can give him all the pets in the world, scratch his ears, whatever. He purrs and whatever. But if Caramel is not around, that cat will get nowhere near you. He just refuses. So it's fun. So hi, Tanya. Tanya says, hi, Brian. Been away working, taking care of elder family. Oh, good for you. And I really, really mean that. Good. Well done. Taking care of family, especially in the elder stages, is extremely difficult. So I hope all is well with them, and that you are able to get some rest and have a few minutes to refill your love tank, as my dad used to say. I'm actually wearing if we want to go down this road, so I don't know if you guys can read it, but it says fully involved dad, and fully involved is a fire department term, and it means just that, fully involved. So when we pull up on a house and it's engulfed in flames, we call it fully involved. We do what are called mark-offs when we show up on scene. So if we get dispatched to a structure fire, we will pull up on scene, and whatever we see, we say. So if we pull up on scene, we'll say something like, there's a single-story residence, nothing visible, investigating, whatever. Or light smoke showing from the door, whatever. Fire blowing out the backside, those kind of things. Fully involved means that everybody showing up knows that this thing is completely engulfed. So a fully involved dad is a sweater. Caramel. Shh. It's a sweater I gave to my father 6 or 7 years ago. I think my dad was a fully involved dad. Educated us in scripture. Just great He was a good man. Um, we knew that raising kids was a priority for him, and he passed away 3 years ago, 3.5. And the year he passed away, my mom sent me this at Christmas time. So I'm doing my best to carry on the legacy that my dad gave to me. So um, so that's my sweater. Somebody asked how cold it is here. I think it's getting down to 32 tonight. It's not terribly cold. I think it's in the upper 30s right now, but it is plenty warm next to my little wood burning stove. Although my back is getting kind of cold. ZMB says, I will eat anything. My brother was so picky. My mom always just said the same. This is what it is. Otherwise, he could have PB&J or go hungry. If we were bad, we just didn't get supper. Yeah, true that. True that. You could always go to bed hungry. You didn't have to eat. But as we got older, if we wanted to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something, we could do that. So my parents weren't total tyrants. What? They probably want to get let inside the house. Tony says we have the AC on. It's hot. I don't know what that means, but we'll get rid of that. Oh, I can't. I forgot I'm on the wrong chat. I don't have administrative privileges. Tanya, did you say you were in Texas? Is that why you have the AC on? Don't eat the Foxglove says thanks for being a good son. Well, we do our best to carry on the legacies. So, what I think I might do, if you guys don't mind, is I'm gonna walk up there. Pensacola. Oh yeah, Florida's always warm. I'm gonna walk up there real quick and open the door to let the cat in the house. He's probably hungry. Do you mind walking with me for a moment? While we're walking, we have hit our 1 hour mark, and I don't want to monopolize your guys' evening all night. So if you have any other questions, we will do our best to answer them. So let's see if we can. So that's caramel, and that's Skittles. Caramel doesn't care. Skittles, on the other hand, come here. I know your brother's here. Come on. Can you hear him? Okay, all right. Go on. Oh well. We'll just leave it open. We'll let him do it. Oh, hey, Brett. Very late catching this. Well, we better start over. Brett's just got here, so we don't want him to miss out. Oh, there we go. Back up to Mount Vesuvius. Whew. It is getting significantly colder. I moved away from that fire, and holy cow. Oh, goodness. All right. Carolyn says, have a good night and be blessed. You too, Carolyn. Like I said, if you guys had any questions or anything for me, let's talk about jowls again. Yeah, Brett, I was telling everybody I enjoyed being outside the other night so much that I thought maybe we'd have a fire going tonight, and I've got the wood burning stove going. But yeah, it's I think it was a good episode. I will do my best to get a video out this week. I'm gonna have some issues because I'm working Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week. So because of that schedule, it makes it difficult to come home and film something. Because I don't normally get home until like 9:30, and so I try and get something set up, but I also try and do some family time. So we do still need to get the pig nipple waterer system in place. And after that, I've got to start cutting posts for the cows. So I will do my best to get something up for you. Thursday maybe Wednesday. If I can film on Tuesday, I'll edit it Wednesday at work and we'll throw it up. So Brian says, are you worried about the chicken water freezing or the pigs? A little bit. Um, Thankfully, it doesn't get that cold typically here for very long. And because I have the water is attached to a 55-gallon drum, as long as it's mostly full, I think it will retain enough heat to not freeze. I've also thought about putting a small solar panel out there and a little like space heater or some such thing, or maybe like, running some black tube around the pipe that would absorb the sun's heat, the solar energy, something like that. I don't know. But what I do on the nights that it gets down to 30 or so is, if I know it's going to be cold for several hours, I will turn the water off at the bottom of the barrel and then I'll drain it. So, um, and then in the morning I go open it up again. And the only thing I have to worry about freezing is the little spout that attaches to the barrel. So once I drain the system, it's normally pretty good. Joe says, any wild game besides the deer that you like, possum, squirrel, raccoons, etc. I do have some rabbit thighs in the fridge right now. We harvested a rabbit, so rabbit's pretty good. So tape a hand warmer to it. I'll just get some MREs and we'll pop that bag open, chuck it in there, and it's all self-contained heating unit, and that keep them chickens warm for a couple hours anyways. How about some hot manure around the barrel? Well, that would be kind of crappy. Yeah, that's true. Actually, I could bury it in compost. So, and that typically stays warm. That's a good thought. Maybe I'll just pile some leaves around it. Currently, I have it elevated on a little wheel dolly thing, but I might be able to build something for compost. That's an interesting idea. I'll have to ruminate on that. So, I gotta love YouTube videos. All right. Well, Flannel fam, I will keep you posted about the merchandise. Hopefully soon. I'll work on that patches idea. I like that. I have another person working on some design for me, so I have to figure out how she wants to get paid. Once I figure that out, we'll go from there. I am hoping that the channel grows, in part to replace some of the income that we've lost, like we talked about before. But also, this community has been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot from you guys. I've really enjoyed our time together, and I would love to see our little community grow. So I'm looking forward to us being able to share this adventure with more people. So, ZMB says solar hot water heater setup and self siphon to the compost might work. Yeah, I think it would, and it really doesn't get that cold. I mean, we have some days where it might get down to like the single digits, but it's not normally for days. And we will occasionally have a day or two where it gets down to like 30, or the high is 30, but we don't normally have very hard freezes for very long. So I don't think that's going to be much of an issue. Karen says, when will we be able to get super chats to support you? So I have to hit 4,000 hours watched. There you go, Joe. How many watch hours do you need for YouTube monetization? It's 4,000. So, and Brett says, keep the content coming, Brian. It takes time. It does take time. And I'm sure you guys have seen I'm extremely patient. We've been here. We're coming up on 4 months, and we have pigs, and we have chickens, and we like everything is go, 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 go. So I know it takes time for content to build. I know it takes time for videos to stack. And as you guys know, crowds beget crowds. So as your channel grows, right, it's like a snowball. It takes a real long time to get it started, but once it starts rolling, it kind of goes by itself. So I do have to be patient, but I appreciate you guys. If you guys weren't here, this wouldn't be worth doing. I really look forward to our weekly chats. So we do have to hit that 4,000 hours watched. Just some behind the scenes kind of stuff, I guess. We get way more hours watched on our live streams than we do on our edited videos. And I think part of that is because obviously we're, the live streams tend to be about an hour, but there's 15 to 20 of you that sit here with me for an hour every night, and then there's something like 200 views to 400 views per live stream later, which is more than my regular videos get, and people are watching for longer. So, it in one sense, it would make more sense for me to do like 2 live streams a week, and then, um, cut back on the edited videos. But the content videos, the edited videos, are the ones that people find when they search for things. Nobody really starts watching a channel because of a live stream. They start because they find a video, they enjoy the content, and then they come check out a live stream. So I'm currently at, I think after tonight, we should be at 1,900 hours watched. And we started, I think, in May. So we're getting there. We're getting there. It's William says good gardeners plus flannel farms equals goo flannel farms. I'd watch that. Um, so Steel Ross said, I did it first, but 28 acres surrounded by cattle ranches is a lot better than 2.5 surrounded by dopers and 3 blocks from Southern Racing. Yeah, you got to have the land. That's awesome, William. That'll be the title of our next video. So yeah, Brett Aker says, your brother just hit 151,000 subs. Yeah, my brother is amazing. He is, I mean, but he's also been doing it for 10 years. He's also an expert in a field, right? So he's got his niche, and he's very good at it. So I don't really have an expertise per se. So we're not doing like a woodworking channel. And what's even worse or better is I'm not even an expert homesteader. It's not like, if you guys have watched Deep South Homestead, right? Those guys have been doing it for years and years and years. They're like experts at it. So you can watch all these ways. I am just a goofball trying to do what I'm doing. And I enjoy the social interaction with everybody. So we started doing the YouTube thing. It's not like I have some expertise to bring you. Only expertise we have in flannel farming of places is maybe voice or two, but we do some voices here, try and do some humor, have a good time. So maybe I bring the social aspect of it. I don't know. Yeah, Brett, exactly. Brett says, "Grow as you grow." That's right. I guess what we really offer is you get to see something happen from the ground up. Not just the farm, but I mean, you guys get to see the channel grow from the ground up. We've only been here since, we started the channel in May. We just passed our 20th episode on YouTube. So once we hit 100,000 subscribers in a year or two, or however long it takes, you can literally watch this entire journey start to finish if you wanted to. And there really isn't much good content on streaming services, YouTube notwithstanding. They're putting out such trash, and just stuff that you can't watch with your kids. You can't just enjoy with a clean conscience. So I'm hoping to provide some content that you can watch with your kids if you want to, or grandkids, and maybe something that encourages you as we go. So I guess that's what we're doing. Maybe we should, I might start adding that, Brett, to our dress for the job you want and grow as you grow. So yeah, Anita says, I watch some homesteading channels for entertainment, some for fellowship, some for info. I don't really watch regular TV at all. Yeah, I don't either. So Brett, maybe we'll do that. We'll add that to the repertoire if you don't mind. Flannel Farms, grow as you grow. I like it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm gonna go inside. My literal backside is freezing. That fire's too far away, and the wood stove's over here, so my left side is all like sweaty and my right side is all freezing. But thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I really appreciate it. For those of you watching on the replay, thanks for watching replays. You are all already watching and liking and subscribing, so none of that really matters. But Simmons says, I watch David for his crazy, endearing personality, of course, but also for his willingness to experiment and innovate. It's an attractive to see hands-on experience versus regurgitated dogma. Yep. There's all kinds of stuff we can do. So I mostly aim to try and make you chuckle a little bit and to show you I don't know if the rough side of it, the hard part, the learning as you go. So, all right, guys, have a good night. We'll see you soon. I'm gonna go inside and warm up, maybe make a fresh tea. So, have a good night. If it's not freezing, we'll do it outside again next week.